friends! Today's video is going to be your monthly anti-haul, and if you are new to my channel, hi, hello, my name's Abby. Anti-hauls are a series of videos popularized by Kimberly Clark, who is a YouTuber as well as an activist, a drag queen, performer, extraordinaire. I will leave a link to her videos in the description down below. Check out Kimberly's channel. Anti-hauls are a way to kind of counteract the kind of inherent consumerism, buy all the things now type mentality that permeates on the internet and on YouTube especially. It's hyperbole. We're having a little fun, we're having a laugh, and I have collected some things on my phone from Instagram, from Sephora, from various places, and we're going to talk about some products and why I don't need them and why maybe you don't need them either. So please take this with a grain of salt, because if you like these and you want to buy them or you have already bought them, good for you. It's your money. Do what you want with it. But I'm just here as a friendly neighborhood anti-consumerist fairy godmother. Hey. And I'm drinking coffee at 10:30 at night because I want to get up and film some videos. Let's get started. First, let's talk about Makeup by Mario. Now, I talked about the Makeup by Mario collection when it first came out a couple of months ago, I think, and I wasn't super stoked on it just because of the way that everything looked. It didn't look like my cup of tea, and I've seen some reviews since then that like the highlighters look pretty nice and the highlighters are good, and there's just still not my cup of tea. But Makeup by Mario released a lip palette as well as some other things, but I'm specifically going to talk about the lip palette because I feel like lip palettes are I wouldn't say divisive product, but a product in the beauty community that has always been very weirdly received, because lip palettes are essentially something for a working makeup artist, and they are things very commonly used with working makeup artists. They're multi-color palettes people can mix together to make their own lip colors. And so it's something that is like useful for makeup artists to use on other people. However, for like a regular ass consumer, lip palettes never really seem like something that a regular makeup consumer needs. And especially right now when like you're definitely not taking a lip palette around with you to reapply your lipstick when you're wearing a mask out in public. It just seems like a really weird time to release lip palettes. Who needs a giant lip palette that's what, $60? Is that what it is? $60 Master Matte's Pro Lip Palette. So they're marketing it as a pro product, but they're selling it in Sephora. And it came out at Sephora like right before the sale. So I'm like, who are you selling this to? Who are you marketing this to? It just seems like a really weird choice to put something like that inside Sephora for regular consumers, and I don't want people to kind of fall for it the same way they did for the ABH lip palette, because ABH did that a couple years ago where they released a lip palette which probably had a good formula, probably was a great formula, but like no regular ass person is buying a lip palette and using it. Like it's just sitting in people's drawers usually. Like I feel like anytime I saw somebody using a lip palette, it was quickly decluttered because they weren't using it like at all.
Why?
And I get that like everybody has their own makeup taste, whatever, but it just feels like something that's being marketed to the wrong audience. Don't need it, not gonna buy it. Next, Pat McGrath. Oh my god. So this Pat McGrath holiday collection, that big old palette, I want it. Like I really do. I have to stop myself because Pat McGrath isn't cruelty free, but of all of the things that Pat McGrath has come out with, that big old palette and those highlighters are the most tempting for me, because I've always loved the look of Pat McGrath palettes, but I've never felt like I needed to take the plunge and spend that amount of money. But with this big palette that she came out with for holiday, it actually is more reasonably priced for the number of shades you get, because you get less of each shade, which I feel like any of these big brands like Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath, where you get like a ton of product and that justifies the price, just give me less product and I'll pay less. Like that makes way more sense. This big palette actually is like tempting me. But these quads, and I feel like I talked about these quads, I don't know if it was last year or if it was 2 years ago, $58 quads. No ma'am, I do not need to spend $58 on a quad. If I want to get a quad, I will make my own quad out of whatever JD Glow shadows I have, or I have a quad from Midas Cosmetics. Quads are some of my favorite things. Quads and six pans, I love. I love small color stories, but I'm not about to spend $58 on one quad, which really only gives me like one or two type of looks, because these are so shimmer based that there's only so much you can do with it. I don't know. Make them half the size and sell them for $30. Like, we don't need $58 quads with these giant eyeshadows. Like, make them smaller and make them cost half. That's reasonable. It's too expensive for what you're getting, and I don't need it. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm sorry, Pat McGrath, but oh my god, those highlighters are calling my name. Let's get on to Trend Mood. I stopped following Trend Mood, by the way. I unfollowed them because I didn't really feel like seeing all of the content all the time, all of the products. First, we're gonna talk about Kylie, because Kylie has 2 things coming out this... Wait, no, that's Kim. The Kardashians. Remember, I hate the Kardashians. KKW came out with a holiday, well, limited edition holiday cute sets that are like basic beige, basic neutrals. And all I have to say to this is you can get this exact color story from Makeup Revolution, from Dose of Colors, from Kaleidos, Makeup Geek even, from so many brands you could support that are not Kim Kardashian. Oh my god. There is nothing special about this in the slightest. It's just another thing for her to slap her name on and to sell people her name for things. I'm so done with them. I'm so done with all of them. The fact that they can continuously put out uninspiring and boring products and people are still gonna buy them always frustrates me, because it's like, you're not doing anything new. You're not adding anything to the market, so go away. Shut up! Or like this is literally the least exciting thing that they could come out with for holiday. Don't need it ever. Don't need anything from the Kardashians. Not gonna buy it. And similar logic goes for the Kylie Skin holiday collection, which is 2 candles, bath salts, body scrub, bubble bath, and an advent calendar. Wow, an advent calendar. Stop buying advent calendars for skin stuff. Stop it. I hate them. I hate advent calendars for beauty products. Give me a weed gummy or weed chocolate advent calendar or a wine one. That's all I want. Or just regular ass chocolate. This is just more things that she slapped her name onto that I don't trust really the quality of anything that any of them come out with ever. You don't need rose bath salts from Kylie Skin. You can get rose bath salts from Target, from Target. And it's legit! You don't need fancy Kylie Jenner bath salts. If you're gonna buy bath salts that aren't like generic ones from the store, like aren't generic ones from Target, support a small business. Like go to a local small business, like a small business that like hand jars everything and you put like rose petals in it. Like, I'll be doing my small business gift guide at the beginning of December, the first day of Vlogmas. You best believe that I'll be talking about some bath products that you can buy from small businesses that are not the Kardashians. So I don't need it, I'm not gonna buy it. Next, oh my god, so Natasha Denona, this Trio-Chrome palette, I feel like this came out like right before my last anti-haul, I think. And this palette, while on first glance, very pretty. The prettiest palette that I've seen from Natasha Denona in a long time. But looking at the swatches versus some of the in-person swatches that people posted on social media, I don't know if I can trust the colors necessarily to match what we're being sold. And if you're gonna have an entire palette themed around Trio-Chrome, like multi-chromes, have more than 3. Literally, have more than 3 multi-chromes in a palette. If you're gonna go multi-chrome, like go multi-chrome, like really go for it. But to have 3, and then to have some other like basic mattes, like I do appreciate that they kind of themed each row after the multi-chrome that's in it. So like aesthetically, it's very pleasing to my eyes. I'm like, ooh, this makes sense. Like I could be able to create looks from this, but I'm not going to spend $129 on like some matte shadows and then 3 multi-chromes when I could get multi-chromes from JD Glow that I like, that are probably better. I don't need this. And really the only one in there, like the only like multi-chrome that really looks like something that I don't have is the Color Flip shade, which is like the pink to green. But the other green, I'm positive I have something similar to this. And then the purple, I definitely have something like that. So I'm not interested in it. And if you really want some multi-chromes, seriously, JD Glow, Cleona, Terra Moons, so many indie brands have multi-chromes that are just as good, if not better, than ones you get from like big mainstream brands. Don't need it, not gonna buy it. Sorry, Natasha. Why am I apologizing? They don't care. Next, we're gonna talk about this Mmmmitchell. I know that's probably not how his name is supposed to be pronounced, but that's how it looks. This Mmmmitchell, made by Mmmmitchell brand. There's 2 eyeshadow palettes, and oh my god, these are 2 of the ugliest things I have ever seen. Oh my god. First of all, one of them is invisible. There's nothing on the outside. It's an invisible palette. I can't see it. What's that about? No, but really, the camouflage one is so weird. The colors themselves next to the like actual packaging
hurts my eyes.
Why Mitchell thought it would be a good idea to have this like giant palette that was full of a bunch of different colors that were kind of disjointed and kind of jumbled, but then to also put it on a very jumbled and disjointed color background is beyond me. It doesn't let the colors shine. It doesn't let the colors actually stand out. It doesn't let you actually see what the hell you're looking at because you're distracted by everything it's laid in. You're like, what color is this? I don't know. Because there's this one hot orange shade, and then there's like a navy blue, and then a bunch of green camo shades. So like, I understand the theme. It was executed so weirdly, and it's such a pain to look at, and it's just not pretty. A lot of the shades in there look really ashy too, where I'm like, those are just gonna get really muddy and not look nice together. I don't understand. And then the other palette, it's slightly better. The background is slightly less annoying, but that one is even more disjointed in terms of colors. The one that makes more sense color story-wise, the packaging is ugly, but the one that makes less sense color story-wise, the packaging is less ugly. This feels very like Jeffree Star mixed with the Norvina large palettes, where it just feels very self-indulgent and very just like scattered for the sake of being scattered, which again, just feels really self-indulgent. It's like, this isn't gonna be some, like, what?
You could do so.
And realistically, I wouldn't really buy anything from Mmmmitchell because he's in cahoots with Jeffree Star all the time. They're making stuff all together all the time. So it's like, any of his friends, not my friends, not people I want to support. So yeah, don't need this.
Next.
Sugar Pill came out with their part 3 of the capsule collection. This is the black palette, the black capsule. Something about these Sugar Pill palettes, I've been tempted by the other two because the color stories were really fun and they were kind of speaking to me, and I was like, ooh, I could do some fun things with this. But this palette, it feels like the large shades don't make sense being that large. Like, the only reason I feel like that large shade is like that hot pink is for people to use it as a blush, because otherwise, like, why are some of the other ones smaller? Like, what's the rhyme or reason why some are larger and some are smaller? I feel like the other ones, the shades that were larger made sense because you're going to use it more often, but I feel like just with this giant pink shade, that feels like a blush that was thrown into it. So the color story doesn't really scream at me. Like, I love myself a pink eyeshadow, don't get me wrong, but I have so many damn pink eyeshadows, like so many pink eyeshadows, that I don't need this weird palette that I feel like would get broken quite easily. The other capsule ones actually seem to look more attractive to me. This one wasn't as exciting for me to look at, and it wasn't pulling me in. It wasn't like, Abby, you want me, you want to buy me please, bitch. Don't need it, not gonna buy it, sorry. Next, so this is gonna be one that y'all are surprised about, but something about this Beetlejuice and Melt collection, I'm not as big of a fan of it as I thought I was gonna be. I'm a lover of Beetlejuice. I love Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder and early Alec Baldwin. Early Alec Baldwin could get it. Gina Davis, fucking love Beetlejuice, okay? Catherine O'Hara is an icon in that movie. Like, I love Beetlejuice. Melt always does knock it out of the park when it comes to like branding and marketing and actual like product design. They truly have it down. That's no secret. But looking at the green and purple palette, the purples don't look like something that I would wear all that often. And the greens, I have greens from Melt. I have greens. I have the Gemini palette. It's one of my favorite palettes of all time. The Smoke Sessions palette is a pain in my ass. The 420 palette wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So I don't know. I've heard mixed things about their formula lately. I know the She's in Parties palette has been really good quality, but then some of the other palettes haven't been as good of quality. I don't know how reliable Melt's quality is right now. The red and gray one is the only one where I'm like, that's kind of different and I kind of want it, but without seeing it in person, I don't know, I'm not as inclined to get it. And I don't use gel liners ever. Like, I don't use gel liners, so I have no use for the gel liners. I have no use for the red lipsticks. I have no use for the mirrors. The only thing in this collection that looks tempting is the red and gray palette. That's it. But everything else, I don't need it and I'm not gonna buy it. And I was just as surprised as you are, okay? Like, really, the brands coming out with the Halloween things this year really let me down, except Shroud. The only Halloween palette that came out this year that my jaw dropped was the Butte Bean and Shroud Cosmetics. It's frickin' Bats palette and I'm so excited for it. So yeah, not into this. Don't need it, not gonna buy it. Next. Am I surprised that Morphe did this and that Nikita did this? Am I surprised? I'm not. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. Nikita Dragon, everyone's favorite maskless party-throwing, biphobic, borderline blackfishing influencer, came out with a palette with Morphe in conjunction with her own brand, which is very weird. The fact that she was like,
oh my god, the best day of my life is when my brand collabed with another.
Like, you have your own brand. Like, I ain't gonna buy anything from it, but like, why is you collabing with another brand? Like, I feel like it's a weird thing. It's a weird sentiment. And this palette is
ugly.
The outside's kind of cool. The outside's a little bit cyberpunk. Like, so I like the packaging on the outside, but once you open it up, why? Why is this? Just why is that? There's like one weird marble shade in it. There's like pressed glitter that's dark, a couple of random pastels, and then some like warm neutrals. This feels like Morphe took a bunch of random shades that didn't fit in other palettes or they had leftover from other things and they shoved it in a palette for Nikita to release. Like, this feels like the most jumbled, disjointed, confusing, ugly ass palette. There's like a white, a cream, a lighter cream, a baby pink, a puke green, a pastel mint green, a pastel rose shade, a whole row of warm neutrals across the top, some purples, like a weird chartreusey gold color. None of it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, y'all know how I feel about Morphe and y'all know how I feel about Nikita. Two things that I don't want to support collabing. So, you know, I don't have to buy it and I don't want it and I can give you reasons why. Morphe is just all around a shady brand. Y'all know this. Like, nothing that I trust about Morphe. One of my favorite outros of any YouTuber is from Nappy Headed Jojoba, where she says, never trust anyone with a Morphe code, and that sentiment will always be true when they come out with shit like this. Because this is garbage. This is absolute trash. Oh my god. Like, why? And why is it a collab with her brand? It's just so weird. This is a big palette that's disjointed and confusing, and I have said my piece about big palettes in the past. I hate them. I hate big palettes. Big palettes give me decision fatigue, and I don't like them. At least it's not the same colors over and over again like other Morphe palettes. I'll give them that. Like, why do they keep making large palettes? Like, it's 2020. It's almost 2021. We don't need large palettes this year. We don't need large palettes in 2021. What are you doing? Stop it, Morphe. Like, I'm not here for anything Nikita makes or does. I'm not here for supporting her financially because she continues to be a bad influence and she continues to be just like not a great person in the community. And the same goes for Morphe. So yeah, more than anything else in this video, I don't need this and I'm not going to buy it. Oh my god. Hi. Technically not editing me here, but I was filming another video and I realized that I left out a couple of things that I wanted to talk about in the anti-haul that I felt like I could just talk about here. And also my battery on my microphone just died and I don't want to go get more batteries, so we're going with the camera mic, so. One thing that I totally forgot to talk about is this powder from One Size Beauty, which is Patrick Starr's brand. It's 2020 and almost 2021.
This is 2020, 2020, 2020.
2 shades of setting powder is not enough for everybody. We're at the point where if you're gonna come out with complexion stuff, you need more options. And 2 powders is not gonna cut it. people who with skin tones that kind of fall within like the medium to tan range, a lot of times the translucent shade is going to be way too light, and then the deep shade is going to be way too dark for brightening. So it's just not, you're missing at least one shade, preferably 4. Like 4 is reasonable for a setting powder because they aren't like super pigmented, but 2 in almost 2021, that's not enough, Patrick. We need more. So I don't need it and I'm not gonna buy it. Last but not least, oh my god, oh my Lanta. I can't believe I forgot to talk about this in the initial recording of said video, but what the hell is P. Louise doing? P. Louise is a brand that I've never purchased anything from. I've never been a fan of just their like general vibe and aesthetic because everything was like really big and clunky, and then stuff came out about like her saying the N-word and like being very defensive about it in like the weirdest way possible. So since then I've just been like, nah, I'm not a fan. But because of that scandal, P. Louise seems to think that she was canceled and that she was bullied.
That is not correct.
They came out with a whole canceled collection with a neutral eyeshadow palette. Honestly, I don't really know or don't really care what the rest of the products in the collection are because the entire thing is the canceled collection. And when they released this product, they had this really long Instagram post just like self-victimizing, and it was the weirdest thing because it was like, no, you were not canceled. You said the N-word and people held you accountable for it and you didn't apologize for it. So it's like, you were not canceled. You still have a career. You're still selling makeup. You still have a makeup academy. How is that being canceled? How is that bullying? How is that what? No. I saw that collection and I was like, are you fucking serious? Like the canceled collection? Who do you think you are, Paige Louise? No. Another point that my good friend Mia from Mia's Virtual Vanity brought up in a video recently that I hadn't even thought of initially, a light bulb clicked on in my head. She's covering her tracks. P. Louise is covering her tracks in the same way that Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson covered their tracks with calling their palette controversy. So now, every time you search P. Louise canceled, you're not going to find her saying the N-word, you're going to find this stupid makeup collection. In the same way that when Jeffree and Shane came out with the controversy palette, when you searched Jeffree Star controversy, you weren't going to find his racist scandals, you were going to find his eyeshadow palette. You weren't going to find Shane Dawson being a creep to underage girls, you were going to find his eyeshadow palette. This is very clear what P. Louise was trying to do. And I'm not about it. I'm not about it. Gross. Don't need it. Not gonna buy it. Absolutely not. Blah. Okay, back to regular me in the past for the outro. One last thing. I know I had a lot of people on Instagram mentioned that they needed me to talk about the new Raw Beauty Kristi and ColourPop collab, but I want it. Like, I really do. The only things that, I mean, the Super Shock shadows and the lip glosses are pretty basic, so like you don't need those. Like, if you want to get anything from the collection, I would say the eyeliners or the eyeshadow palette, because I'm not going to get the Super Shock shadows because they're similar to some that I already have. I have Ritz and I have Frog, very like sheer kind of shades. Like, you don't need the Super Shock shadows if you have some that are already like it. And the same thing with the lip glosses, like it's a sheer pink and then a sheer sparkly ones. And I have lots of lip glosses that are similar to that. So like, I don't need the glosses and I don't need these Super Shock shadows. But Kristi really knocked it out of the park with the eyeshadow palette. Not gonna lie, like she actually made something that had depth to it, something that people with different skin tones could use. And I'm a Washingtonian girl. Like, she's basically my neighbor. Like, not really. Like, she's in Washington, but that's it. And she made the entire palette inspired by Washington. So, like, she got me. She got me there. She named a shade PNW, and she named a shade Rainier. Like, she got inspired by our beautiful state, and I fucking love it here. Who'd have thunk it? Like, actually a palette that has depth to it? Wow. I am a sucker for things having to do with my home state, okay? So this was a hard one for me, okay? But yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's anti-haul. Please go check out my previous anti-hauls. I upload one every month, usually around this time of the month, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. I do have to mention I will be uploading probably once a week for the rest of the month to get ready and to get pre-filming for Vlogmas, because I am doing Vlogmas. So you won't see me as often this month as you will next month, obviously, and you won't see me as often this month as you have been, because I have to pre-film and edit and stuff, and there's a lot of work to get ready for this. So yeah, well, I'll have one video a week this month for the rest of the month, but get excited for Vlogmas. Let me know if there's any videos specifically that you would like to see me do for Vlogmas, because I have a lot of ideas lined up and collabs lined up, but there are several days still that I don't have planned. So if there's anything specific that you would like me to talk about next month, let me know. For today's song of the day, ooh, yeah, okay. Today's song of the day, and I was like, what's today's song of the day is For the Moon by the Young Evils. My buddies in the Young Evils, a local band that hasn't put out new music in like 5 years, they put out a new song a couple weeks ago, and the music video is very cool, and it's very cool. But it's kind of like synthy rock stuff. I love these guys. I haven't seen them obviously in like 5 years. And if you like kind of like synthy, dancey, indie rock, definitely check it out. Let me know in the comments below some things that you have been anti-hauling. If you like any of these products and you want to get them, like I said at the beginning of the video, fucking buy them. Like, do what you want with your money. I can't tell you what to do. I'm only just encouraging people. If you would like to see more of my videos, more of my anti-hauls, please subscribe. That would be awesome. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would be super cool. And if you would like to follow me on my other social medias, I stream on Twitch twice a week. Check my Instagram, my Twitter, Twitch. That's it. Yeah. I was like, what other things do I use? As well as links to my other anti-hauls and my social medias down in the description. There will also be a link to some information about the Georgia runoff elections happening in January. It's incredibly important to stay informed and to stay active, because we're trying to flip the Senate to be equal 50-50 at this point, and there's two runoff elections happening in Georgia for both of their senators. Definitely check that out in the description if you are looking for ways to help, because anybody can help, seriously. Thanks so much to my patrons. As always, I appreciate y'all very, very much. Let me know what kinds of Vlogmas videos you want me to do next month, and I will see you all in my next one. Okay, bye-bye.